Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to continue on with these steps on getting set up and getting ready to create wealth. So in the last video, step one, just a little quick recap, was to figure out your income. So the first thing you want to do is gather all your bills and figure out what your monthly income is. Step two is to figure out your expenses. So to figure out your expenses for this wealth creation that we're doing, there's going to be three separate parts to figuring out your expense. So that first part is everyday expense. We're going to start with that one. So on those three areas of expense, I just feel kind of a tug, like a tug on my heart to just kind of break this down, because this is really important. And you know, it's one of those things where there's a lot more to it than just writing down a bunch of stuff on a list, creating a budget, getting your three numbers. So the first thing you want to do is you list all of your bills. Okay, you list everything that you can think of and go back through your bills over the past few months and just go through the list. If it's miscellaneous things, you can just create basically a miscellaneous tab here. And you know, but as far as bills, stuff that comes out regularly, you need to write all of that down. So to succeed in wealth building, it takes some discipline, because this, again, like I said, this is a lot easier. It's a lot easier said than done. So once you list all of your bills, the first thing you want to do is look at is there anything that I can cut out on. If you want to, you want to increase your cash flow as high as possible. So if this was a typical list, looking through this, right, you have cable, internet, Hulu, and Netflix. So cable, Hulu, and Netflix, you got to kind of ask yourself, do you really need all three of those? The thing about building wealth, the thing about building wealth is getting out, the getting out of debt part and the building the budget part is it takes time. It takes time. You're going to have to dedicate some time to this. So if you're a person who just watches TV all the time, you got to start thinking about what can you cut out here. So just for this example, we're going to go ahead and cut the cable out, and we'll go ahead and cut out, we'll cut Netflix out and keep Hulu. Okay, so you increase your cash flow by $65, I believe it was. So then you look at what else, is there anything else possible? This miscellaneous, if this is, it's always good to have a little extra. So I wouldn't cut yourself short, but if you were going through your bills and you saw like Starbucks, stuff that's not part of like groceries, then you probably will need that. I mean, this is up to you, but for this example, we'll cut this in half to $25. So, another thing, once you have all of this listed and you've cut back on what you could, then you want to create your budget. So first list everything. You notice, if again, you can itemize out groceries, gas, and things like that. But it's easier just to go ahead and list everyday bills, leave out groceries, leave out gas, leave out miscellaneous. You could even leave that out, really. And then once you have everything listed, now your budget is formed by, right? I mean, you live within your means. So your budget is only telling you only have $590 left. So your budget has to come out of $590. Whereas, so now your grocery bill will need to come out of $590. The gas, you can kind of average that out. You know, if you drive average, let's just say you're spending $20 a week in gas, you know, that's not happening here in Texas. But if, for this example, let's just say that you spending $20 a week, that means $80 will be in gas. So over here on budget, in the course, I don't know if I have this added in there, but you can add it. So you're going to assume your gas is $80. Now you got to think about your grocery bill. So depending on how big your family is, you probably have a general idea of how much you spend on groceries. And this is why I feel so strongly on creating a video just for budgeting, because budgeting, you know, there's a lot of things that families deal with, and depending on your cash flow, you know, to try to live within your means and try to make ends meet at the same time could be difficult for some people. So if you only have $510 cash flow after all of this here is done, you know, and let's say that your groceries is gonna be $400. You know, it might even be more than that, but you got to remember, you got to kind of keep a positive cash flow here. So we set the food or groceries at $400, and then you got to think miscellaneous. If you know, entertainment, you know, let's say go out to the movies once or twice a month, or you know, you want to take the kids out for ice cream. Technically that wouldn't be part of groceries, so you got to have some kind of miscellaneous budget. So let's say you wanted to budget that at $60, right? Your cash flow is $50. And this is why I wanted, at some point, you got to understand that this is not going to be easy. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to dig yourself back out of this debt that you have to get to a point to where you can start creating wealth. And then from that point on, as your wealth increases, you can start doing more and more things. So looking at this, I see that there's a gym membership here. You know, granted, health is always important, but you could temporarily at least get rid of your gym membership and just work at home. So let's say we did that, which now puts your cash flow at 110. So gas, food, groceries, miscellaneous will all come out of this account. Now, your budget is at $540 a month. You may not always use $540, or you may come pretty close to using that or even more. So just be careful. Don't short yourself on this budget. I mean, it's pretty important that you stick to it. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about budget is, so your budget is $540. This is assuming that your income is $4,025. So what happens if, say you're out of PTO at your job, or you're sick and you end up calling in, and your income that month only ends up being, you know, $3,800. This is where, if that happens, then this is where I just kind of wanted to talk to people to think about things like this, because if that happens, the first thing I would do is cut it out of the budget. I wouldn't cut it out of the monthly, you know, cash flow or expense. But most people, a lot of people would keep their budget the same and still try to deal with that everyday thing. So, you know, guys, just understand that you're building something around the fact that your income is going to be a certain amount and your expenses are going to be a certain amount. So the budget, this is where you're going to create the two checking accounts. So when you open your account at the bank, make sure to open two checking accounts. And there's a couple ways of doing this. So you have two checking accounts. One is going to be your budget account. One will be your bill account. Your bill account, you will have all income coming into the house going into this bill account. And then once a month, on the same day probably you pay your rent, mortgage, transfer from this bill account into your budget account. And remember, this budget account, make your zero in that account $100. So if you have $99 in this account, you will be negative $1. and you need to bring that back. So just make $100 your 0 point and transfer from the bill account to the budget account. And you see your budget is listed just like a bill. So once you make that payment, you just hit yes that you basically paid it over. There is a second option here. The second option is when you're at your job, usually most jobs will let you deposit in 2 accounts. You can set $540 you can have go into this checking account, or if you get paid bi-weekly, you could put $220. That's what's also good about this budget. If you are struggling with budgeting, you know, you can break this down to where you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. And so you could give yourself $220 if you're getting paid. If you're going to do it that way and have the check deposited straight into the budget account and you get paid bi-weekly, then you would put $270. You would put half of this amount into the budget and it will just transfer automatically. You don't have to worry about doing anything. And you basically use that budget card, everyday expenses, all of the, or your miscellaneous charges every day. When you want, if you go to the gas station and fill up on the car, this main account that has all these bills coming out, you take that card along with your credit cards and put them in a safe or a spot. You don't need to carry that with you. All you do is you carry your budget, and without worry, you can just charge. If you want to go to Starbucks, charge it. If you want to go buy groceries, bring that with you. Gas, just use that card for everyday things like that. Another option is most banks will let you set up a automatic transfer. So you could set this up. You can still have all money going into that main account, and then from your bank itself, have it transfer weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly over the amount you need for your budget. Then you wouldn't even have to physically go in there every month and do it. It would just do it automatically. So once you have all of your expenses listed, and once you have figured out what your budget is going to be, then we look at how are you going to pay your bills. So you can look through this list. One way of doing it, you know, like I've always said, the easier the better, is you can put this stuff on automatic payment. So this goes into another thing. If you put these, if you're using your debit card, you can put, you know, car insurance, cable, internet, you could pretty much put all of these on automatic payment. The way this works is once you pick one day out of the week, that's all you need. You don't really have to worry about due dates. You don't have to care about anything like that. Just one day a week. Let's say you pick Thursday night. Thursday, you'll go in, you'll log into each one of these accounts. So if you have it right here all the way listed down, you could just go down the line. And if that, you pay all of these bills in the month that you get the statement, not in when it's due. So you'll go through, if your car payment shows that it's due, you'll log in, you'll be going down the list, right? You'll log into that account. And if you pay that bill, you come here and check yes. This part's important. Check yes that it's been paid. And then if you log into the next account, if it's not available yet, then you just skip it. Skip it if it doesn't show available. And then if it's available to pay, you pay it and then click yes that it's been paid. And then once that's done, the next, you don't touch that account anymore. It just sits there. When you wake up the next day, you're going about your day or whatever, you got this budget card with you, that second checking account. That's what you're using every day. And then when it's time to log in the next week, if it's available now, you pay it. So if you choose to have all of these on automatic payment, you still need to log in on that one day a week. This time when you log in, you're just verifying that it went ahead and been paid. So if it came out and it shows that it's been paid, you'll click yes. If you log in and say the car insurance is due the 20th of every month, when you log in that first Thursday out of the month, it's not going to show paid. Even though it's an automatic payment, don't click yes until it's been verified. So you still want to go through and verify that it's being paid. Once it's been paid, you click yes. Once you have clicked yes, if it's like that third week and you've already clicked yes that all of these have been paid, then, if you got, what you're going to find out is that most of your bills are going to be paid by that third day that you chose, that third week of the month. There might be one more that you're kind of waiting on for it just to come through because it's due on like the 28th, but it's on automatic payment. You still kind of want to wait and verify it. But once it's all been done, you'll change this to, you'll change it back to no once you're done for that month. And then you'll just go up here and you'll change it to the next month, and you just rinse and repeat. So when we get into the page where it shows the settings, and that's part of why you want your checking account set at a certain amount, because you never have to worry about, oh, I gotta wait till I get paid to pay this. You'll already be ahead of the game. So that's basically how you go through and pay it every month. Make sure, if you want to use this page as a checklist to go down one day out of the week, go through, pay your bills. If you have these on automatic payment, you're basically, all you're paying is that anything that can't be paid with the credit card, rent, mortgage, car insurance. Now I'll just go ahead and touch on this. This video is getting a little long, but I'll just go ahead and touch on this to get it out of the way. What you can also do is use one of these credit cards. So if you have like a rewards card or something like that, let's say that rewards, cashback rewards or something, you can tie all of these bills to one of these credit cards as the automatic payment. And then what you're doing, you're paying the rent, car payment, stuff you can't pay with a credit card, and then that one credit card, that's all you need to pay. It makes it a lot easier. So those are your options as far as paying the bills. So get your expenses, list everything, go through your bills, list everything. Once everything is listed, see if there's anything you can cut out on. And it might be a little bit hard at first to cut out on it, but you got to understand what you're doing in the first place. You're trying to get out of debt. So see what you can cut back on. Once you found out what you can cut back on, whatever your cash flow is what you need to create your budget out of. So once you create that budget from the cash flow, that's living within your means. And a lot of people who do this is going to end up saying, whoa, like, I don't really have cash flow. And people wonder why they're still in debt, or they can't seem to be, they're making these minimum payments on everything, but nothing's ever happening. That's why. It's because your cash, you don't really know your numbers. So that's it for this video, guys. As far as, again, the expenses and budget, that's what we'll do. We're going to look at the bank in the next video. So if you found value in this video, I appreciate a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.